गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुस्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। नमामि गौडपादं च शङ्करं श्रीसुरेश्वरं स्वामिनं सच्चिदानन्दमिन्द्रं तं ज्ञानरूपिणे। ओम नारायण नारायण नारायण। अविवेकोत्थम यत् मिथ्याज्ञानम. So the mithyagnanam, which is synonymous to adhyasa. Mithyagnanam, the wrong knowledge, the misunderstanding, is synonymous to adhyasa. This adhyasa, when it is said that adhyasa is due to aviveka, adhyasa is due to aviveka, this I discussed more elaborately. One is one reason is our standpoint to the world, our way of looking at the world should be right. Because of this wrong way of looking, even our own Advaitins have unfortunately taken a wrong prakriya. It is Sankhyas say or Vaisheshikas say it is the Paramanus that construct and become the world. And Sankhyas say there is a Prakriti other than Atma. Other than Atma means equally real. There is a Prakriti which is equally real, which is parallel to Atma, and that Prakriti modifies into the world. See, there is a slight difference. Vaisheshikas say Paramanus constitute. Constitute means Paramanus form. Paramanus come together and form a constructive world. But Sankhyas say Prakriti modifies into the world. But in either way, in Prakriti, in Paramanus or Prakriti, in Vaisheshikas Prakriya or Sankhya's Prakriya, the one common thing is the material cause of the world. There is a material cause of the world, and that material cause of the world is a parallel to Atma, and it is Jadam. These 3 points you see. Jagat has 3 points. I repeat, the world has as a material cause, and that material cause is Jada. It is inert. Second thing and third thing is it is parallel to Atma, equally real as Atma. As real as Atma, it is an addition to Atma, parallel to Atma, it is existing on its own. So, because why they arrived at this kind of philosophy? That's because when we look at the world, in the world we find 2 things. One is Chetana, another is Jada. Chetana beings, the Chetana living beings like human beings, animals and we, they find their conscious beings. They find at the same time inert world. Therefore, this inert world and conscious being, this is what we commonly call Charachara Jagat, Sthavara Jangama Jagat. Sthavara Jangama or Charachara Jagat, living and non-living, animate and inanimate world. So, since we see in the world animate, inanimate beings, living beings as well as inert objects, now the same way they extend it to the past. See, I have to explain all this because their standpoint, their way of looking is a defective, and how they are proceeding in order to find out the cause of the world. How they are proceeding. The method also, see the method you adopt, the way, the kind of method you adopt, according to that method you arrive at the truth also in the same way. Because the method restricts you. Method decides what kind of result you are going to get. So the method is, you see the world, conscious beings and inert objects. Both are existing simultaneously. So the problem is, can we reduce this conscious and unconscious, the Chetana and Jada, the living and non-living, can we reduce them into one? They found that, most of the people found it is impossible to reduce, except Advaitin. You see, Charvaka, the totally Nastikas are one extreme, one side, and Advaitins are another. All others fall within these two. All others fall within these two. So, Charvakas say, now I told you these two things, living and non-living, conscious and unconscious, sentient or insentient, two things. Now these two things, when we see in the world, what could be the cause of these two things? Now seeing these two in the world, when you go into the cause of it, they generally presented that the cause also must have the two things. Because we see two in the world, sentient and insentient. Therefore, cause also must be two, sentient and insentient. This is how our common sense logic, any common man's logic works. So, based upon taking this logic as a basis, almost everybody arrived at that. But only Charvakas and Advaitins are two exceptions. Now, how the exception? Now this insentient and sentient, living and non-living beings you find in the world. Now, why imagine these two, seeing these two in the world, the cause also should be two. This is what others imagined. So somebody else, some people thought that, why imagine the two? Can't we reduce this Chaitanyam and Jada, these two, into one? The cause should be one alone for these two. What is that one cause for this Chetana and Jada? For these conscious, sentient and insentient beings which we see in the world. But the cause of the world, one method is, the cause of the world also must have the two. As the world has got the two things, the cause of the world also must have the two. This is one method, one way of arriving at it. Another is, why not we reduce these two, sentient and insentient, to one of them? So Charvakas taught that, let us reduce the consciousness into Jada, Chetana into Jada. That means Chaitanyam is also born of Jada. But this looks too simplistic, too childish it is, because the Jada itself doesn't exist. Jada doesn't know that it exists. It is the conscious principle alone that knows that Jada can exist. And then Jada itself cannot transform. So if before the world was born, before the Jivas were born, if there was only Jada, how can the Jada imagine and think and start producing consciousness? See, if Jada can produce consciousness, then Jada is more powerful, Jada is more conscious than the consciousness. Isn't it? Then you have to assume that Jada is so conscious, so intelligent, so capable of doing. It looks so ridiculous. Jada itself means which is not capable, which is just inert, thoughtless. It cannot think. Okay. Therefore, now the other side is Advaitins. They told that Jada itself doesn't exist. Jada is also another form of consciousness alone. Another form of consciousness. Now, if the Jada is independent, before we jump into the Advaita, let us take few other steps. Okay. Now, if the cause of the world is the cause of the world also the what you call twin cause, twin parallel cause, that is a cause, Chaitanya and Jada, Chaitanya Jada. If Chaitanya Jada, two are the causes, two put together, the twin causes, then the problem arises, how can the Jada independently do? Jada is a Jada. Material is a Jada. Therefore, it is the conscious being alone who handles it, uses it, manipulates it and produces the world. Therefore, conscious alone is the principle. The conscious principle is Ishvara, who is conscious, capable of thinking and deciding, judging everything. He alone has got a plan, idea, thought, and he can use the material object and produce it. This, compared to the Charvakas, I think this this appealed to the people thinkers. So most of the people did like this. Therefore the Jada is dependent upon the conscious principle, because conscious alone can have a thought and idea and purpose and plan and action. Everything a conscious principle alone can do, Jada can't do. Therefore Jada is independent. Only using inert object it is using, the inert material it is using. So therefore most of the schools of philosophy came up to this, that the Chaitanya is independent. In fact, except Sankhyas, Vaisheshikas say the same thing. Ishvara uses the Paramanus and creates the world. Ishvara is a conscious thinker. Therefore Ishvara uses the world, uses the material, that is Paramanus. Sankhyas call Prakriti and Vaisheshikas call Paramanus. Okay, whether say Paramanu or Prakriti. So that Paramanus, Ishvara uses Paramanus and modifies it into Prakriti, constructs the Prakriti. So the Vaisheshikas view that Paramanus are like bricks. God uses them to combine the world. They felt it is too childish, therefore they went little ahead. Prakriti they took it. The Sankhya's Prakriti they have slightly modified. In Sankhya, Prakriti and Atma parallelly existing. So what these people, other people told is, Prakriti being a Jada cannot be independently existing. It has to exist under the control of Ishvara. Okay. Prakriti has to exist under the control of Ishvara. Ishvara is a conscious principle. So the conscious principle alone can decide everything. So only material is only a just material. Just like our pot maker uses the mud and makes a pot out of it, shapes a pot out of it. Or our carpenter uses the piece of wood and makes a table or chair or many other things. So therefore he uses the material cause. Up to this is okay. This is one good improvement. Good. But now the material, the Prakriti which we call, how it is related to Ishvara. How it is related to Ishvara. So Dvaitins, Vishishtadvaitins, then others what, whom you call it, Nimbarka, Vallabha, all those people, what they told is Prakriti is dependent on Ishvara. How dependent, there they differ again. In fact, Ramanuja, Madhva, Shankara, all the, except leaving Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, all other people, Prakriti is dependent on Ishvara is common. But how dependent, the relationship, they have their own model, their own explanation of in what way it is related. But it is dependent is common to all. How dependent, their own they slightly differ. Okay, we can ignore those minor differences, but everybody commonly agrees Prakriti can't be independent, like in the philosophy of Sankhya. In Sankhya's, Prakriti is independent. Not only Prakriti is parallelly existing with Ishvara. Not only, I repeat, Prakriti according to Sankhya's, not only parallelly existing to Ishvara, but independently it decides to produce the world. Atma only simply remains. Atma is only a consumer and Prakriti is a producer, is an industrialist. According to Sankhya's, Prakriti is the producer and Atma is only simply a consumer. So other Vaishnavas or even Shaivas, not only Vaishnava, Shaiva, everybody, all of them who depended on the Shastra, Veda and Agama, these people they told, oh, Sankhyas are too much. The Prakriti being Jada can't be independent, one thing. And Prakriti, not only it can't be independent, it can't decide on its own to produce the world. Therefore, there must be a conscious principle, Ishvara, and the Prakriti should be dependent on him. Okay, this is the common for all the Vaidikas, all the Purana, Vaidika, Agama. Shaiva, Vaishnava, Advaitins, everybody, this is common. Prakriti is dependent on conscious principle. And then, because Prakriti itself cannot decide, up to this is okay. Okay. Now the next point comes, Prakriti is dependent. How dependent, in what manner of dependency? Within that there may be differences. But Vedantins told that whatever may be the manner of dependency, if Prakriti, while being dependent, does it have any existence on its own or not? Even though they accepted dependency of Prakriti, Prakriti is dependent on conscious principle, still Prakriti has its own existence. The Jada, because we see the Jada. In all this imagination, because of the world we are seeing it. From the world we are trying to arrive at the cause of it. So, the Prakriti, the Jada principle must be there. Whether it is independent, whether it is dependent, whatever manner, but Prakriti element must be there. This is how they think. Because we see the world is Jada. All that kind of arriving, that kind of philosophy they developed because based upon the world you see that there are two. This is where up to this all non-Advaitins came. Prakriti is dependent on Paramatma. Paramatma uses the dependent Prakriti and shapes into the world. Therefore we see the world here. Now Advaitins, when they came, in Advaitins also there are some people like the post-Shankarites, they adopted the Sankhya's or even this what you call Ishvaravadinaha. Because the Vaishnava, Shaiva, all these people, they say, they adopted that Sankhya's Prakriti. Prakriti is dependent on Ishvara, this principle. Ishvara is the cause of the world, Prakriti is dependent on him. This principle they have adopted. So when you adopting others' principle, it creates a little problem. So what Swamiji told is, in Shankara's Prakriya directly, Shankara developed a Prakriya based upon Upanishads directly, based upon Anubhava directly. These post-Shankarites slightly, they borrowed others' Prakriya and readjusted to Advaita. When you borrow somebody's, in fact the Prakriya, the method of teaching means a model of explanation for the world. Okay? A model, an example, an illustration for explaining the world. So, an explanation or a model, both together. Model as well as an explanation. So, this, when you borrow Sankhya's or others' model and slightly readjust to the Advaita, and it is not fitting well. They told that Prakriti is there, Prakriti is a material, and that material, though the material is dependent on Ishvara, this is common to all. Prakriti is dependent on Ishvara, is common to all. But in Advaitins, since they have adopted it, Prakriti is dependent on Ishvara, Ishvara shapes it into the world, but they say that Prakriti has some kind of an existence. Among the Advaitins, they told that Prakriti has got some kind of an existence, and that existence produces this world. This up to this. So I discussed all these things only to come to our point. Here we say, first you see what is the world. World itself is not an existing solid reality. World itself, the mistake they made is, world itself is not a substantial solid thing. It is like a dream. In the dream, when you are in the dream, as a person within the dream, when you look at the remaining world, you being an individual, a part of the world, you look the other part of the world. You being a part of the world as an individual, you look at the remaining part of the world. World looks as a solid substance. Substance is solid reality. Therefore, from this angle, from this standpoint, if you want to decide the cause of the world, then what they told is, there must be a material cause which modifies into this world. Even among the Advaitins, they have fallen for this because they took the same Dvaitins means all non-Advaitins, Prakriya of, there is a Prakriti, a material cause which modifies into the world. Okay. This they have slightly adjusted and put it into Advaita. Then Swamiji told, don't borrow others' Prakriya, take directly Upanishad Prakriya alone. Upanishads have a model, have an explanation directly about the world. They don't borrow others' Prakriya. It is something like, you stitch a shirt for somebody. Okay. First, a shirt was stitched for somebody. Nowadays we get all ready-made clothes. I am told we get ready-made clothes are available. In our days only clothes were stitched. No ready-made, nothing was ready-made available. Nowadays I am told ready-made clothes are available. So, so these ready-made clothes, you get a ready-made clothes stitched for some other purpose, for other purpose. Then when you wear it, you see what happens. It is like a small boy wearing his father's shirt. Small boy wearing father's shirt. The shirt is too long. The hands fall down. They just come down. All this. Then you have to slightly readjust it. Okay. You have to what you call fold the cloth a little bit and stitch it. Fold here, fold here, fold here, stitch it, and so however you try to stitch it and fold it and stitch it, fold it and stitch it, somewhere something, still it looks artificial. It doesn't fit in with you because this cloth was not designed for you. It was designed for somebody else. You borrowed it and made some modifications. This illustration, this example, Sachidananda Swamiji didn't use it. I am giving example, but Swamiji only told this much, that our people, our Advaitins, post-Shankarite Advaitins, have borrowed Sankhya's Prakriya, others' Prakriya, and slightly readjusted to Advaita. That's why they told, world is something substantial. It must have a material cause which is substantial. Okay. This is their mistake. First thing is, how do you look at the world? You look at the world as an individual through indriyas, through sense organs, and try to see the world as existing within time and space. This we discussed 2 or 3 days ago. In between something else came. So 3 days ago we discussed this. So they told that the world, they are looking at the world through sense organs. As an individual, then world looks very solid, existing in time and place. See, world looks as a solid only when you see them as existing within time and place. This also I discussed yesterday, 3-dimensional. Since the world looks so 3-dimensional, it must be existing in time and place, and also it must be solid. Since it is looking solid, there must be a material cause to produce the solidity. See, to account for the solidity, some material is required. This is the post-Shankarite explanation. Now the direct Shankara's explanation is, solidity is only a way it is experienced. You don't have to imagine cause to be a material in order to explain the solidity. Solidity is only an appearance. Just like I gave you an example of modern Facebook painting. They paint. I tell you, they have developed such a beautiful painting structures that as you are seeing, within 10 minutes, 20, 15 minutes, he draws a picture. And the picture looks so 3-dimensional, so beautiful that you feel it is really there, really standing in front of you. So, the 3-dimensionality, or in other words, solidity, it looks very solid, very real, is only an appearance. This modern example of modern painting helps you to give up your Mula Vidya. You don't need the material for the world. Okay. You don't need a material cause for the world. World itself is an appearance, is an adhyasa. So because, as I told you 3 things, Charvakas told, inert object alone is the world. Consciousness is born of inert object, insentient world. The in between, other than Advaitins, they told no, consciousness exists independently. Some people told conscious and Jada parallelly exist. Charvakas told consciousness is, sentiency is produced from insentient object. Some people told sentient, insentient parallelly exist, equal existence. Then the third party told no, consciousness is more independent and Jada is only dependent on it. Okay. Then Advaitins, in Advaitinsinally again two things we can say, that Jada is a mithya, yet it is dependent on Ishvara. It has got some kind of solidity. Then come to the directly Shankaras. There is no such thing called Jada at all. Jada is only appearance of the same consciousness. Consciousness looked from a particular angle appears like something, a solid object, inert. But there is no such thing called inert. There is no such thing called three-dimensional. There is no such thing called solid world. All this is only another appearance of the same world. Therefore, it is purely adhyasa. Like in dream, like our modern paintings. Modern paintings are only appearances. Though they look solid, they are only appearances. Dream, while you are watching the dream, while you are experiencing the dream, it looks world as a solid. But once you wake up, from the standpoint of Sakshi, there is no world other than the consciousness. Consciousness shaped or falsely appearing, consciousness itself is appearing like a water appears as a wave. But is wave something solid object? Is wave an another object addition to water? Is wave an another object, solid object addition to water? Or it is only the water appearing in a particular shape? There is only shape. There is no substance. Okay. There is only a shape. But even shape is only an appearance, false appearance. Therefore, adhyasa doesn't need a material cause to be produced. Adhyasa is a just appearance. Okay. This here we deviated and deviated means elaborated all this point. So here it says, therefore, when we say aviveko tam mityajnam, adhyasa is born of indiscrimination, born of aviveka, born of lack of viveka, lack of discrimination. When we say, some people try to imagine that aviveka is a material cause and adhyasa is a product. So, then okay, now when we explained this, a small point again, that point I have to complete it. Now the material, since we see the world, consciousness is a pure consciousness alone. Now where does that material come from? So I told you four versions. One is the Charvaka, second is the Sankhyas, who they say that their sentiency, insentiency parallelly, equally existing. Then the third party, third philosophy, third group of people, third paksha, let us say, third view, third doctrine, third paksha. Sanskrit third paksha is Chaitanya is independent and only Jada is dependent on him. Okay. The second paksha was Chaitanya, Jada was parallelly existing independently. Two are existing independently. Then the third paksha was, you can't say Jada independently existing. Jada has to be dependent on Chaitanyam. Chaitanyam has to be independent. Then why not we say Chaitanyam alone produces the world? No, we need Jada. Why do we need Jada? Because we see the world as Jada. Okay. We see the world as a solid Jada. Therefore, we need some Jada material also. And then where do you get it? Advaitins told, okay, the world needs Jada, but even that Jada comes from Chaitanya. Okay? They are totally opposite side of Charvaka. Charvakas told Chaitanyam is produced from Jada. Advaitins told even the Jada comes from Chaitanyam. Chaitanyam alone is absolute. Absolute consciousness is full. Okay? Absolute Chaitanyam. Satchidanandam, absolute Chaitanyam is absolute. Jada is also product, as if it's not a product, but even if there is a Jada, even that Jada has to come from Chaitanya. Okay. This is a purely Advaitins alone. So Charvakas say Chaitanyam is born from Jada, they are the another extreme. In between two pakshas. Another extreme is Advaitins. Advaitins say Jada doesn't exist at all. It is Chaitanyam alone. From Chaitanyam Jada comes. That means originally everything was only Chaitanyam, absolute consciousness. Jada itself doesn't exist. It comes from Chaitanyam. Okay, this I have to discuss. We'll just leave it. In between we'll come to this point. So we'll come little later. So in between the two schools, one school told Chaitanya Jada parallel. The other one told Jada is dependent. Jada is dependent on Chaitanya. All non-Advaitin schools based upon Veda, Purana, Shaiva, Vaishnava, Nimbarka, Vallabha, Ramanuja, Madhvadis, all of them talk of Chaitanyam is independent, Jada is dependent. Yet Jada has an existence. Okay. Jada has still some substantial existence. Advaitins say even that existence to be debunked, because it doesn't have any existence. It doesn't have any existence, because even that, the so-called Jada, what appears to be other than consciousness. What is Jada? What appears to consciousness? What is not consciousness itself? What is, 2 points you see. What is itself not conscious but appears to consciousness? Okay? What is not consciousness itself but appears to consciousness? What is known to consciousness? They say it is insentiency. But insentiency is only a thought. Advaitins say that what you call insentiency is only a thought within consciousness. Itself is not an entity. They told it has got some degree of reality, some degree of existence. This is the difference between Advaitins and non-Advaitins. They told some material, but that material is dependent. They say the material has got some kind of material, insentient material required, is there. It must be there, but it should be dependent on consciousness. Advaitins say, how dependency? How do you explain dependency? In whatever relation you accept it, the Jada has to be accepted some degree of independence. If it exists independence, Chaitanya becomes blocked. Chaitanya's independence, total independence suffers. Therefore, the Jada cannot have independent existence. In fact, it can't have existence at all. It is also another appearance of Chaitanya. Chaitanya itself is appearing in another way. That's all. It is only appearance. It has no existence whatsoever. This is ultimate conclusion. Therefore, Chaitanya alone is the reality. Jada, the so-called Jala, is a tentative appearance of consciousness. Because a conscious can act as a Jadam. Can Jada act as a conscious? See, this is interesting question. A living person can remain for a while, for a few seconds. You must have seen, a person can remain motionless for a few seconds. You think that Rabba is so motionless. Is it dead? Is it a dead one, or is it a what you call statue? You think some people, you see them that they dance like this posture. Some women, they are trained like that. Even the what you call eyelid also will not wink. Eyelid also will not wink, and you just remain for a few seconds. They take a picture. You feel it's just so motionless, like a statue. A conscious person can act like a statue. Can inert object act like a conscious being? Impossible. Inert object cannot act like conscious being, because there is no action for it. No action. Because inert is inert. It doesn't have any thought, any thinking, any movement, any action. Everything is only depends on consciousness. But consciousness can act as an inert. Therefore, Advaitins say ultimate truth is pure consciousness, absolute consciousness. It can appear as a Jadam. Let it appear. But even that appearance, it is only conscious. Something like what you say? Who is that? Duryodhana. Duryodhana in Mayasabha saw the water flowing there. When the water is still, he thought it is a land. When the water is so still, there is no movement at all. You think it is a land, transparent land, like a glass surface. Okay? He thought that sometimes, see, the Maya was a so clever fellow. He made the walls as so transparent, and the floor also so transparent. And people think that it is so transparent. So, one place, Duryodhana saw that. He made it so transparent, so smoothly, he refined it. He polished it so well that he thought that it is a solid object looking like water. When the water is still, you don't know whether it is a liquid or solid, so polished well that it is a transparent glass. Is it a transparent glass, or is it really water? Whether it is liquid or solid, is unable to decide. Because it is so beautifully polished that it looked like transparent. So Duryodhana, thinking that it is a solid, and put the leg and fell into water. And another place, he made it so transparent, he looked like a gateway. He thought that it is a gateway. But it is looking so gateway, it's a three-dimensional. He felt that there is a passage, and he was about to go, and he got a bump on his head because it is a solid substance, but looked like a pathway. I mean a gateway there, a passage. So similarly, anatma, the very anatma is an appearance of consciousness. Okay, anatma appears as, Chaitanyam appears as anatma. Anatma itself has no existence. Therefore, in adhyasa, doesn't require a material cause. Oh, just for this one point, I took 3 to 4 days. Okay, this sentence is my conclusion ultimately. Anatma is not an existence. Anatma is same Atma appearing due to misunderstanding as something other, as something solid, as something inert. All this, the inertness, something separate from Atma, that it is substantial, all this is only appearance of the consciousness. This is what Shankara's speciality is. He says Adhyasa explains everything. You don't need a substantial world. It is only an appearance of the pure consciousness. See, what a thinking. What a manana. What a philosopher's thinking, not ordinary man's thinking. Of course, Shankara has the help of Rishis, the Upanishads, and Anubhava. But thinking, you see, what a depth of thinking. Because the time and space goes with the world. When you include the time and space, world doesn't have an existence. World is only a dimension. What do you call 3-dimension? 3-dimension is only length, width and what you call thickness. The length, width and thickness, the 3 dimensions are only space. Therefore, the solid object is nothing but a 3-dimensional space. Solid object, the inert object, the so-called inert object is nothing but a 3-dimensional space. And fourth is a dimension time. 3-dimensional time and space. Okay. When you include these 3-dimensional or 4-dimensional time and space is only a consciousness. Consciousness reshaped is called time and space or dimensions. What are the dimensions? Consciousness reshaped is called dimensions. Dimensions are nothing. They are only conscious elements alone. Consciousness reshaped are the dimensions. Dimensions are objects. Therefore, reduce the world into dimensions. Dimensions of time and space. The time and space is nothing but conscious element. Ultimately, it is consciousness alone appearing as the world. This is the stroke, master stroke of Shankaracharya. Why Shankaracharya? Call it Upanishad alone. It is Upanishads alone, master stroke. Shankara is only interpreter anyway. Shankara only explained what is there in Upanishads. Therefore, it is just the consciousness appearing as this thing. Therefore, Adhyasa is Anadi. So, Atma, this Anatma appearance is Anadi, and also it is same consciousness appearing as an another, and it is imposed on the Atma. Appearance of Anatma and mistaking it for Atma, both are due to Adhyasa. Therefore, Avivekottam, when we say not due to, it is due to non-understanding Brahman, Jagat appears. When we say this non-understanding, now we leave about all non-Advaitins, come to Advaitins. Within Advaitins there are 2 sections. Two sections means 2 groups. One group, he says that not knowing Brahman in the event of, or in the wake of, or in the context of not knowing Brahman, Anatma appears. Taking this statement of Shankara, there are 2 interpretations. This not knowing, what is this not knowing of Brahman? Aviveka, not knowing Brahman, they say this not knowing Brahman is a kind of a thin substantial layer sitting upon Atma. They say a thin layer, a substantial layer sitting upon the Atma, that layer modifies into Adhyasa. This is the post-Shankarite explanation of Adhyasa. Sachidananda Swamiji says there is no basis for it. More we'll discuss later today. Just we'll touch it. Swamiji himself is going to discuss it. So we just touch it and proceed in today's topic, with today's topic. So he says, there is that Ajnatam Aviveka of Brahma Aviveka means unable to discriminate and understand the Advitiya Brahman. That aviveka is not a layer. Aviveka is not a substance. Aviveka is not a positive substance. Aviveka is only a context in which you find adhyasa. It only means when there is adhyasa, there is a no understanding of Atma. So non-understanding of Atma, misunderstanding of Atma, these are not the two. Sequentially, you can't put them as a cause and effect relation, because the time comes into picture only in adhyasa. Without adhyasa, there is no time. Therefore, that aviveka, not knowing Atma, is not something substantial. It is only a same adhyasa, you are explaining differently, that's all. You know it as a snake and you don't know it as the rope. See, when you know it as a snake, they ask you, are you sure? Is it snake alone, not something else? But I know snake alone, I don't know anything else. I know snake alone. If there is something else, I don't know. So, I know it as a snake. I don't know it as anything more than snake. Okay? I know it as a snake. I don't know anything more than a snake. I don't know more than a snake. Is it something, a cause, a previous cause, and from which the snake appears? You can't put it as a cause and effect relation. You can't put it as these two as previous and later. You can't put them as a sequence. You can't put them in a sequence, that aviveka first and adhyasa later. So here, aviveka Shankaracharya only means that in the context of not knowing, the world appears. The same thing he puts it differently. Atmaiva satyam vastu nanyadato astiti jnanabhavat. For not knowing Brahman, that there is only Brahman, there is only consciousness, you are seeing the anatma, that is adhyasa. So that not knowing is not something, it is only an explanation. That aviveka, lack of understanding, lack of discrimination is only a way of explanation, but not an entity by itself. Post-Shankarites told that is a mula vidya, that is some kind of a thin layer. They started accepting. That's because they borrowed from Sankhyas, the Prakriti, dependent on Ishvara. So that thing, they have borrowed it and slightly modified it. Just now I told you, a shirt is stitched for somebody and then borrowed by other person. And when you borrow it, it doesn't suit you. You try to stitch it, restitch it, and try to modify. However, you modify somewhere little defect. Similarly, this Prakriti being dependent on Ishvara is a others prakriya, others method. It has been adopted and slightly modified. However you modify, it is giving little trouble. Therefore, better drop others' shirt, have your own shirt. Swamiji, what Swamiji says is only this much. Have your own shirt directly, based upon Upanishads. Upanishads directly talk of Atma. They don't borrow Sankhya's Prakriti and modify. They say clearly, unknown Brahman appears as the world. See, unknownness is not a status. They say unknownness is a material which modifies into adhyasa. This is meaningless, because it is not there in the Anubhava, not in the Upanishads, nowhere we found. It is a purely speculated philosophy of post-Shankarites. It is a simple unnecessary hypothesis. Swamiji says, unknown Brahman appears as an Atma in the world, that's all. They say unknowingness modifies into this world. So that unknownness itself is another thin layer that modifies into the world they presented. Why? Because they start seeing world as a solid substance. Since world is a solid substance, see their argument. Since world is a solid substance, there must be unknownness. Unknownness of a Brahman is a thin layer, a substantial layer that modifies into the world. This is their explanation. This looks too much unnecessary. Unknownness is not a layer and the world is not a substantial. Two things they have to correct. To come to Shankara's Prakriya, Sachidananda Swamiji's Prakriya. The world being substantial, that unknownness is a layer. These two abandon, these two are wrong ideas, unnecessary hypothesis, unwanted, unwarranted hypotheses. Okay. Hypothesis, I think plural, I don't know how to say that. Thesis is a plural. Okay. So here he says, unknownness, don't say, there is no unknownness. Unknown Brahman. Brahman plus unknownness, don't make it two. They told Brahman plus unknownness. They put it, post Shankarites. Brahman plus Aviveka. Brahman, Ajnana, they are not two. Ajnata Brahman. Ah, this is a beautiful explanation. Unknown Brahman. It is not two. Brahman, unknown appears as the word. That's all. Okay. Unknownness itself is not an entity. Same Brahman, unknown appears as the word. Adhyasa. So this Atmaiva Satyam Vastu Nanyadato Stiti Jnana Bhavat. We are continuing the same paragraph. Those who are referring the book, I don't know what book you are referring. If you are referring my 1 to 2nd edition. Is it 2nd edition? Yeah, 2nd edition. If you are referring 2nd edition, 10th page, in the middle of it. Kim tarihi atmaiva satyam vastu nanyadato astiti jnana bhavat ajnatatmaiva. This is Swamiji's explanation. He got the Shankara spirit, Shankara's mind. Ajnatatma. Ajnatatmaiva anatma rupena pratibhasate. Abba. For this sentence we spent 3 days. 3 days, 4 days in between something else came. Okay. In between criticizing our own Hindus yesterday's talk. But I think we need that thing. It is only just to move us, shake us to thinking, that's all. Indians are really great people, but somewhere due to some bad luck we got into wrong thinking. Only to just shaken. It is underlying, there is a great our Rishi's wisdom in us, but somehow we covered up our Rishi's wisdom and we became useless people. So again think back, our Rishi's wisdom you will get back. Therefore I just wanted that they have to be little shaken, little moved, therefore I use a little hard hitting, that's all. So hard hitting is possible because they are really capable of rising like tiger. Once they rise, they become tigers. They are capable, they are sleeping tigers. So only just they need to be little touched, a little moved. They are tigers, they are not inert objects. We are tigers, only little touching which moves them and wakes them up and they become tigers. Once they become tiger, whole world has to run away or it has to yield to us. Okay. Even Gandhiji told one point, if Hinduism is weak now, if Hinduism comes back, rises to its power, I think nobody can stop it. It can conquer the world. Even Gandhiji told. But somehow how we lost it, I think, shall I tell you, it looks again very harsh. Gandhiji's follower, his selected disciple of a first PM, that is the one he killed Gandhi. I think Nathuram killed his physical body. But the real killing of Gandhiji's thinking, Gandhiji was too pro-Hindu, pro-India, he was all Indian, truly Indian. And that Gandhiji's spirit and thinking was killed by his first disciple. The most foremost, important, dearest disciple has killed it. So Gandhiji got a wrong disciple. And I think Gandhiji's enemy, Godse was a real lover of Gandhi than this first PM whom Gandhiji loved so much. Because Godse by killing made him more popular. And this first disciple killed his philosophy, his thinking, his idea and and enslaved whole India. By killing Gandhiji's thought, he enslaved whole India. Okay. I think Nathuram is better than this self-chosen disciple of Gandhi. So that created a problem. So we have to reverse that. Only for that I used the word. Okay. Now we'll continue. Chaitanyam, unknown Atma. Ajnata Atma. This sentence is beautiful. See, Swamiji says, Sachidananda Swamigalu, Ajnata Atma iva anatma rupena pratibhasate. They told Atma with an Ajnanam as a thin layer, they two together combined become. Of course, that layer is dependent on Atma. See, Prakriti being dependent on Atma, this is borrowed from others. Shankara's prakriya according to Upanishad is Prakriti dependent on Atma. Don't say that. Atma unknown. Unknown Atma appears as a world. Don't bring it to again Prakriti. What you call Prakriti is Atma alone. There is no Prakriti other than Atma. Same Atma looked from the world, you call it Prakriti also. Prakriti is also another aspect of Atma, that's all. That another aspect is also imposed one only. There is no Prakriti other than Atma. Prakritischa pratigna drishtanta anuparodhat. Prakritischa pratigna drishtanta anuparodhat. There is a sutra. This is Brahma Sutra. Discussing on Mundaka Upanishad. This Brahma Sutra says, the sutra begins like this. Prakritischa pratigna drishtanta anuparodhat. This is the sutra. In that sutra he says, Paramatma is Prakriti. It doesn't say there is Prakriti dependent on Paramatma. Paramatma himself is Prakriti. See, directly. See, same Paramatma called as a Prakriti from a particular angle of looking, that's all. There is no Prakriti other than it. Some people told Prakriti is separate parallel to Atma. The second view, second doctrine. The third doctrine like Vishishtadvaitins, Dvaitins and Shaiva and all, Prakriti is there but dependent on Brahma. The same thing modified, borrowed by Advaitins, some section of Advaitins, they slightly modified and then put it. But Shankara says, like Brahma Sutra says directly, why say Prakriti plus Brahma? Brahma itself is called by another name Prakriti from a particular angle, that's all. Don't call Brahma and Prakriti two together. Prakriti is another name to Brahma looked from particular angle, that's all. Don't put it another Prakriti. Prakriti, whether dependent or independent, no Prakriti independent, no Prakriti separate from Atma. See, second group of people, Prakriti independent they told. Third group of people told Prakriti dependent on Brahma. Advaitins say Prakriti is neither dependent nor independent. Prakriti itself doesn't exist, is another name for Brahma looked from particular limited angle, that's all. See the difference. Prakriti is neither independent nor dependent. Okay. Prakriti independent Sankhya's say. Sankhya's and Vaisheshikas you can say. Then Prakriti is dependent on Brahman, all Shaiva, Vaishnavas and so on. Non-Advaitin. But Advaitins say Prakriti neither dependent nor independent. Same Brahman is Prakriti. Brahman himself is another name Prakriti looked from a given angle, that's all. How we have reduced it to Brahman alone. That is the beauty. Therefore he says Ajnata Atma, unknown Brahman. Swamiji, for this interpretation, people say, how did he get it? The same Shankara Bhashya, when you look at it, it looks that the post-Shankarites have given that unknownness is another factor, addition to Brahma. It is a dependent on Brahma, but an additional factor. So how does he get that unknown Brahma? Because Gaudapada, Swamiji depended on Gaudapada, Shankara, Sureshwara, only three. He didn't depend upon Vyakhyanakaras, post-Shankarites. He took help of them. Definitely they were also very helpful to him. The other Vyakhyanakaras, Panchapadika, Bhamati, Vivarana were also helpful, but Swamiji, some places they set them aside. So he directly depended on these people. Here you can see Sureshwara came to Swamiji's rescue. That's why Swamiji called his Vedanta as a Parishuddha Vedanta, Vishuddha Vedanta, because he depended on Gaudapada, Shankara, Sureshwara, only three. Now here, Sureshwara's is open statement. Now you see, Sarpada Yoyatha Radva, Rajva, Vikaraschura Bodhataha, Ajnanada Atmanastatvat, Tejo Bannadi Vikriya, Nahi Vedanta Siddhante, Ajnatatmati Rekataha, Sankhyanami Vasiddhante, Labhyate Karanantaram. Two karikas, two shlokas, karikas Allah, not karikas, two shlokas of Vartika, Swamiji quotes here. You see, just as the Sarpa is nothing but an appearance of rope. Unknown rope, unknown means what? Unrecognized rope. Unrecognition itself is not a layer, is not a substance. Unrecognized rope gives an impression that it is a snake, that's all. Unrecognized rope is taken for snake. Similarly, unrecognized Brahman, ununderstood Brahman appears as the world. That's all. Nahi Vedanta Siddhante Ajñātātmātirekataha. Sureshwara statement. Ajñāta Atma Atirekataha. Like in case of Sankhyas. In case of Sankhya, Prakriti is a separate. So now, all these days, 3 days, come in this Vartika shlokas. All these 3 or 4 talks discussion are based upon this Sureshwara's Vakya. Sankhyanamiva Siddhante. Like in Sankhya Siddhanta, Sankhya's Prakriya, they take Prakriti as a separate. Our Advaita, see, the Sankhya says Prakriti is totally separate. Slightly modified by Vishishtadvaitins, Dvaitins. What they did is, they took Sankhya's Prakriti, they made it dependent on Brahman. Then post-Shankarites took it, little more advanced step. They told the same Prakriti, slightly modified it. It is dependent on Paramatma, but still it has got a thin layer as of existence. So, but Sureshwara told only unknown, unrecognized Brahman, that's all. Therefore, Sankhyanamiva Siddhante labhyate karanantaram iti. Yadi hayam loko. Okay? I think time is up. I am also tired. The spirited speaking makes me tired. So we will stop with this and then we will give this explanation tomorrow. Yeah. This portion we have crossed. Now the next sentence comes, is a new again. Yadi hayam loko vivicha atmanatmanam naswarupato nirdharanam kuryat tatah evam viruddha swabhavayo itaretharatvam itaretara dharmatvam ta aropya na vyavaharet. Is another idea, another argument. We will discuss tomorrow. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.